I got a comment on my YouTube video asking me to show you how you can take a screenshot of Elements UI inside of your Lovable application. And in this video, I want to show you how simple that is. Let's take a look at this. So I just really quickly built my own Canva inside of Lovable because, that's what you sometimes gotta do, and Lovable can do that. Now, the question is, I'm essentially, with this implementation here of my own Canva, arranging HTML elements on the screen. That's what's happening. So how do I download them? How do I turn them into an image that users can download and share and post on social media? It's actually very simple. I'm going to actually see if I can select this canvas, but it doesn't seem I can select it. So I'm just going to prompt it. Let's say, first, add an ID to the image preview element, and then use canvas to image. This is a very popular NPM JavaScript library. You can take a look at that here. Canvas to image to turn the HTML element into an image that can be downloaded. Add the download button in the top right corner. And this is how we can turn HTML into an image that can be downloaded. So we can build beautiful, Canva-like experiences just like this. And you can do all kinds of fancy designs here, making this big, putting it in the corner, and, taking this here, making it a little bit wider, and, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can change the font size, and you can go in here. Oh, I accidentally deleted it, but it also added the download button. So I assume that is a win. Okay, so as you can see, we now have this download button, which is, if we take a look at the code, what it's doing is, it's where we got the updated button in here, and what we're doing here is, it seems, are we importing HTML canvas? HTML canvas, let's see. It doesn't seem like we're importing that NPM package. Maybe it found a different way to do the same thing. We'll see. So what did it say? I've added a download button in the top right corner that converts the canvas to an image using Fabric.js built-in export functionality. So because we're already using Fabric.js, there's actually a native support to do that, but I want to use HTML to canvas. So let's try this first though. So you can see I now have this downloaded as an actual image. But I want to be very clear because you are probably not going to have Fabric.js added. So I'm going to say I want to use HTML to canvas, but Fabric.js is also a good alternative if you're building something like Canva, like I'm doing here. But if you're not building Canva, you need to use HTML to canvas. When I can really do cool UIs here. Look at that. I don't know, like if you can build Canva and Lovable, there's seriously something wrong with software engineering. But let's take a look at that. Now it's going to edit the files. It installs HTML to canvas, and it's smart enough to install the latest version. So you have the most up-to-date version. And now it's going to edit this file to import HTML to canvas. If you take a look at the code here, it now imports HTML to canvas from HTML to canvas. So that's perfect. Now we have that installed. Now HTML to canvas in this example actually triggers a build failure, which it sometimes actually does in Lovable. So let's try to fix this here. And there is a chance that for some reason tries to do a surveys function. Okay, that's interesting. Oh no, that's actually the whole general thing. But we'll see. It does sometimes trigger some build failures, so we want to double check that. And this is a TypeScript compiler stack overflow error likely triggered by the HTML to canvas dependency. Let me revert back to using Fabric.js built-in export, which works perfectly instead. So actually, when you're using HTML to canvas in Lovable, it seems to create some issues. So now my question is, can we use Fabric.js export if we don't have an editor like this? So let's ask it. Can we use Fabric.js export if we don't have a Canva-like editor? Let's put this in chat because I want to make sure that maybe if we're having a simpler way of doing things, that we can still do something like this, because we're probably needing to rebuild this editor to see if it works. Great question. Let me think through the step. The short answer is yes, Fabric.js export works perfectly, even without a Canva-like editor interface. So this is great. So here's what we do. Let's say, let's build a membership card builder. Let's build a membership card builder where on the left side, there is a preview HTML with HTML div with dynamic data elements to show the card preview. And on the right is the form to build the card. Okay? Add a download card button, downloading the card from the left using Fabric.js export, not their Canva-like canvas. Okay, so it seems actually, as you can see, HTML to canvas is a little bit old. It probably doesn't actually work that well in React for some reason. Could be that there's something wrong with it right now, that it builds some compiler issues. If it doesn't work, we're going to take the way of the least resistance by using what works, and it seems like Fabric.js seems to be working quite well. So let's see. We did this in chat mode, so let's see. What did it say? I want to make sure I understand your vision correctly before we pin this out. Looking at your current greeting card designer, I need to understand your new vision for a membership card builder. Your request, a preview area in HTML, right side form. The tricky part you're asking about, you want to use Fabric.js export functionality, don't download the HTML div preview on the left, but Fabric.js only exports its own canvas elements, not arbitrary HTML elements. My question to you, keep using Fabric.js native export hidden. The left would need to be rendered on the left preview and a hidden Fabric.js canvas behind the scenes. That seems to be fine. Option B, use a different approach. Use HTML to canvas. It does seem to trigger some build failures. So let's do option A, right, with the hidden canvas. Let's send this to the chat because it seems that there are some issues with HTML to canvas right now. I used it a couple of weeks ago on the CDN. That seems to work, but we also need to make sure that stuff is being bundled because we're using React. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, so it now creates the plan. It essentially does a hidden Fabric.js canvas element behind the preview that hopefully should look the same, which it likely does. And then we'll take a look at that, and then we'll be able to export it. Membership card instance, it creates the state, it creates the plan for that. Now we create this data URL. That is good. Creates the components, creates the whole plan, the whole structure. And now let's implement this plan. Oh, that's interesting. It seems like Lovable is generating the response code like this, LOV plan. Fun. Okay, but now it's thinking about implementing this, and now it will say, I'll implement the membership card builder with HTML preview on the left, form on the right, and hidden Fabric.js canvas for export. So we can export it. It renders it in a hidden Fabric.js instance. So we kind of like got that all sorted out. Now it's building those files that will probably take a little bit. So we're going to make a cut and we'll be back in a second with you. So as you can see, it seems to work. So let's try opening this. And let's see, we got the membership card. This looks beautiful. Let's do Jane Dong, membership, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Member photo, let's just put the Lovable icon inside of here. Beautiful. Lovable, I think they're ink. I don't want to, we'll see. We'll got to put the Lovable logo inside of here. There you go. Let's do classic. Ooh, that's too classic. Minimal. Ooh, that looks nice. And now we're going to change the color. Let's do it yellow. It's an ugly. Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, that seems to be good. Okay, let's try to download the card. And now, as you can see, we downloaded the membership card. Now, obviously, the font isn't on point and the styling is not one-to-one. You see, we got rounded borders inside of here. And if we open the membership card again, the styling is not one-to-one. That's something that we can improve with prompting. So we'll see which one is actually better. Let's say works nice, but the exported image is not one-to-one like the preview. Preview. What can we do? Now, we can go into two directions, but let's ask the chat. We can either make the conversion with Fabric.js better, or we can go into taking it as a snapshot from the HTML. Both of them have benefits. My fear is that since Canvas.js doesn't seem to compile successfully in Lovable, it's going to be a hurdle, but we're going to take a look at that. Image scaling, match to HTML, recommended. So we'll take option 1, apparently, because that's recommended, unless it turns out to be a flop again. Use HTML to canvas. Hybrid approach, keep the HTML preview as is for user experience. Create a separate hidden high-resolution HTML div specifically for export. Use same structure but with larger dimensions. Export that with HTML to canvas or Fabric.js. I think actually single source of truth, use a visual as the preview. I actually think option 3 seems to be well. Let's try option 3. We're just having a canvas behind it, because the HTML needs to be rendered in a canvas behind the actual preview for it to work with Fabric.js. It needs to be rendered in a canvas element. What's a canvas element? Canvas element essentially lets you render any HTML in one HTML element that contains all of them, and you can just go into the image and go into this canvas element that renders it's like an iframe almost. But then what it will do is it has the ability to take a photo of it because it's its own frame. So we'll take a look at that. I'm afraid that using HTML to canvas will cause errors. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our good friend Claude. So we spend less credits. And I'm going to say, find most used HTML to canvas alternatives working very well with React.js. Okay, perfect. Because I think this whole HTML to canvas thing looks a little bit sus. So we gotta get a more polished, up-to-date version. So we'll see. It's now doing a web search. It's finding the best ones. I highly suggest you question the NPM packages that you're using. Look for better ones. Shop around. Let's see. Based on my research, the most popular NPM alternatives, HTML to image. Wasn't that the one with like 0 downloads? Let's see. Let's go to NPM. This is how we validate if something is actually legit. Look at the installs that it has on NPM. HTML to image. Oh, ooh, 1 million weekly downloads. Yeah, that's way better than our NPM package at Despia. So how about we take that one? Okay, that seems to be fine. DOM to image, that was the last time updated 5 years ago. So let's use HTML to image. Okay, let's have it come up with a plan to do HTML to image. And then actually we can have I think, a single source of truth for the image itself. Perfect choice is actually a better option than for several reasons. Better performance, faster rendering, more reliable, modern implementation, uses modern browser API, smaller bundle size, more lightweight, better quality, sharper text rendering. We always like sharp text rendering. HTML to image fixes that. It comes up with a plan to implement this. This is essentially how we're rendering it. We're just doing the function to export it. We're creating a promise. We're creating the style for the canvas. We're scaling it up as it seems. Yeah, that looks good. Let's implement this plan. Now, this will take a little bit, so we'll make another cut and we'll be back. So, as it seems, it's done. Let's try this out here. Perfect. We got our membership card. Let's do NoCode Pro Code. There you go. Let's upload. I don't have any image of myself on my computer, so it must be the Despia logo for now. Perfect. And now, obviously, it got to match the colors of the logo, because, you know, perfect. And then organization name, Despia. There you go. And I think we're good with that. Let's download the card. And this looks actually pretty okay, but still misses the font and styling issues. So let's go back to Lovable. Let's say font is still in Times New Roman on the image. Also, the CSS is not 1-to-1. Round borders are ignored. Okay, that seems to be the only thing that is actually wrong with this one. If we look at the image again, if we just hold it next to each other to compare what's happening here, you see you have the image here, like the height and all that is pretty good. Of course, this image is missing because it's not being set. But we have Despia, we have the membership card, right? We have this here. Now, spacing is a little bit different, but that's because of the font. The border isn't added. This icon is missing, actually, and this QR code is also missing. Or, I mean, it just doesn't look 1-to-1. But besides that, those are CSS issues. So let's take a look. It's now fixing those issues. I assume that they will be minor issues, probably being able to be fixed on a very short notice. So I don't think we need to make another cut here. But we're going into the right direction. Essentially, we have this element here that is the main frame, and that's being used to then take a snapshot of that element using this HTML to image library to then create this image that the user can download. And that's essentially how Canva works, and how other tools work. They're just taking screenshots of the canvas. Of course, it's a little bit of a thing you got to make sure you fine-tune, you set up correctly. That's why we're having this video, to guide you into the right direction. But yeah, that's essentially the whole concept of doing so. I think I need to make a cut, or yeah, I think I need to make a cut because it will probably take a little bit fine-tuning everything. As you can see, it just updated that. So let's try opening this again and let's see what's happening here. I'm afraid to put my information in there again, so let's just try doing the download right away. And oh my God, this is 1-to-1. That is amazing. So let's go in here. Let's do NoCode row code. And member ID 1, because I'm the number 1. Okay, let's put the Despia logo inside of here. Organization name, Despia. And we'll put the Despia logo inside of here. Let's do modern. Yeah, I like modern. Okay, let's take the color. Oh, stunning. Okay, that looks good. Let's download the card. Boom. And that is how you turn HTML into an image that can be downloaded by your users. That's how simple that is. Thanks for watching.